Hello everyone for another game of Link to the Past Randomizer between Mclagging and Koi. My name is Ninban and joining me here is Zayhak. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Nimin. How you doing?
Yeah, we're fine, thank you. So I didn't get to watch game 1. Can you tell me in a minute like just what happened?
Yeah, so game one was a lot of really early progression that pigeonholed into needing to take out all three of the pendant bosses. So it was oops all dungeons, but without a pedestal pull. Very interesting seed. Mclagging, I think, routed the overworld a touch better and made the decision to hang around and kill Pendant Helmasaur for the flippers, while Koi had to go back, and I think that was the biggest single difference in the race.
Wow, that sounds like a high praise.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was very, very good. So now Mclagging is up 1-0. If he wins, he will advance to brackets, and Koi will move to face either Ace Zero or Hitaka in the last chance qualifier. If Koi wins, we will move to a decisive game 3. And Koi has chosen Fast Ganon for the re-race. So what does that mean?
Fast Ganon means they don't have to defeat the Ganon's tower. I mean, they don't have to go in Ganon's tower and defeat GM2. They can jump right in Ganon's hole and beat him up with the 7
Perfect.
crystals.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Mclagging's taking the sort of standard entrance into Uncle here. Koi checking out the dam as his first stop.
Yeah, that's quite. I'm used to players like doing the Kakariko play early, but these two just go for Uncle and two different, but two different locations with 2 checks each. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Nice start for Mclagging with the early sword, able to immediately clear out escape if he wants. Koi finding a drowned lamp. Hopefully it still works.
I hope to.
And he's immediately heading to Aginda's cave. I believe he made really quick play for this earlier as well, which did wind up leading to the Moon Pearl in the previous seed. So we'll see if he comes across any kind of good progression here. I mean, while Mclagging is going to take that sword directly into the bottom of escape here, and we'll see if he opts to take a death warp and check out the sewers chest, or if he's just going to nope on out of here. Could be, depending on how comfortable or how well he executes the dark room, since we know the lamp is just sitting around really early. Could be an early difference of a few seconds.
I hope he does, honestly, because the lamp is already in logic. It's in phase 0, so
yeah.
So it could very well there be an item in there, and I mean he already got a sword, and I think the sword is really the best help you can get doing dark rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if any runner had to pick what they use to navigate a dark room, a sword would be their best choice for sure.
And I think Koi will follow in Haru Castle, now that he's getting his sword in the Uncle chest. But he will have the lamp, so I think it's pretty much guaranteed he will go in the Dark Cross room.
Yep, I would agree with that. Mclagging gonna get the 8 slashes on this guard here. He's gonna bail out and use a pot just to make sure he doesn't die too early.
That's a good strategy. You don't want to die there, because if you die here, you never go back to that location. Like,
yeah.
Never. And that can make you lose a game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. One of the big things that I like, that what I try to think about personally when I'm running a seed, is you really don't want to try and put locations in a position where you're never going back, because as soon as you do that, you open yourself up to just having progression there that you're basically guaranteeing you're going to last check for yourself.
They also got a key in the very first chest of our castle, in the map chest, now that I see Koi getting it. And that's very interesting, because that puts the back of the escape sequence in logic as well. Otherwise, if the key was back there, they would have needed the gloves to get there, but with the lamp and everything they got, and the key, it can be in logic that gloves may be in the back of escape.
Yeah, absolutely. Have to see if that winds up being important. It's kind of weird in my experience whether or not when you get this early key, whether or not you need to get back here without the gloves or not. It's usually fairly interesting if you can.
And the logic definitely is saying they can, so
Absolutely, yeah.
I look forward to that.
Yes.
I also look forward to the 6-7 minutes Kakariko.
yeah, that's a good point too. You don't usually see Kakariko Village not touched. Yeah, like you said, 7-8 minutes into a scene.
I just hope that Boots there.
Just so they can feel bad about the decision making. Could have done this with Boots.
Yeah, could be interesting too because they would think like, oh, maybe not getting Boots early made me a little bit behind, but
yeah,
it's not enough to really change our decisions, I think.
So the bottle in the wait,
wow,
yeah, that's a pretty good back room.
that's very good. And bottle is good because they'll do Sick Kid and Kakariko like one shot
for sure.
And Powder, if they get Hammer in Kakariko, they can check Magic Bat as well, and the Master Sword is just good.
Yeah, getting an early bottle before you go into the Kakariko Village proper is actually really, really nice, because getting a bottle later on in your Light World checks and having just that Sick Kid sitting there, if you don't have the flute, it's really out of the way. But it's kind of one of the things, in my experience, it tends to stick in your mind as well, that you're worried about that potentially very common spot, but it's not really convenient for you to get to.
Yeah, and you often get in the situation where, oh, maybe it is an Naga Seed, but I still have Sick Kid left to do.
Right.
And you don't want to decide between going Aga or doing Sick Kid because it's so out of the way.
So Mclagging is going to start from the Sanctuary end. This is where I like to start seeds, from Sanctuary myself. I'm going to move south into Kakariko Village from here. Very nice, especially when you all know you already have bombs like Mclagging does, because you know you can just do it all in one straight shot without having to run back and forth.
Yeah, and people from chat are making me realize that, yes, Alianim 1 is already in Logic.
That's true.
More than the lamp.
Maybe even a touch more likely than that, considering you could get to the back of Escape logically without gloves. I mean, that's only 3 locations, but yeah, definitely looking good for Aga early on, at least.
Yeah, and Koi is still deciding not to do Kakariko. He is going to Minimal Dome Cave. I don't know if he'll follow to Ice Hut. Maybe it will depend on the items he found here.
Tempered Sword!
What's happening?
These guys had really good equipment in their previous seed that they just raced as well, so the seeds are definitely being kind to them in terms of what equipment that they're getting. Whether it's kind with item locations is still yet to be seen. Yeah,
and they haven't got a bottle, so like the bottle in the bag of Escape, we don't even care about this one. And we know what could be fun if this was like a 0 crystal seed, because that's possible with the randomizer, although we don't do it in this tournament. If this was a 0 crystal seed, they could already go and beat Aganim then beat Ganon.
That's true. Yeah, you could have the seed done in like 20 minutes or less.
Yeah.
So Koi did go all the way down to Ice Rod Cave from here. Bit of a walk. Will be a little bit rough if Boots or the Flute turn up in Kakariko. Koi is a chest turning god, though. Look at this.
Yeah,
He pulled 3 or 4 of them in the first seed too that I saw.
Yeah, so Koi finally deciding to start by the Sanctuary. And his trek in the Minimal Dome Cave just gave him the blue mail. Meanwhile, Mclagging just found the Moon Pearl in the chicken house. So quite an easy Moon Pearl for this seed.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much directly set to go to Aga now. At this point, you can even do stuff in the Dark World when you get there.
I'm surprised no one checked Lumberjack yet, because they're just missing the boots to put it in Logic. Well, for Mclagging, he's also missing the lamp, but
Yeah. I am a little surprised too. I know a lot of runners don't like checking it until they have the boots in tow already, because then that's when they know that it's officially in Logic most of the time. But there definitely are situations, especially if you start getting down towards you're close to go mode, if boots are still what you're missing, where the knowledge of what's in that cave could make a big difference.
yeah. I also understand just not checking it, because I usually don't check it.
Yeah.
This early in the scene.
So I have to assume Mclagging is going to be heading down towards the South Shore from here in all likelihood, considering that escape is already cleared out and we haven't come across a bow. And I guess another thing, now that we've seen Koi do Agina really early in both seeds, if you were Mclagging and you knew that, would that incentivize you to check Agina earlier than you usually would?
Certainly, yes. If I was Mclagging, yeah, I would check it earlier. And I see Koi is a player that and he doesn't seem to leave any Sphere Zero check like just out there, so I'd certainly do all my checks dutifully.
Yeah, for sure. There is an argument, obviously, of going the other way, and that if it's nothing, that you pick that time up on your opponent every time that isn't anything. But yeah, it's definitely interesting if you have an opponent that has tendencies like that. And Mclagging is going to Agina from here as well, so. I mean, this could just be what Mclagging would normally do anyway, but you have to wonder if this is knowing your opponent a little bit.
Koi will be releasing a golden bee to give to the bottle vendor, and he'll give him hard-head herpes that he can.
Yeah, it's a
he can
yeah,
use
it's a bit of a lesser known trick, but it's a neat one.
Yeah, this guy is quite the collector. He can also collect fish, like if you go all the way to the dam and take a fish and bring it back to the bottle vendor, he'll give you like all kinds of items, full magic, 8 bombs, 20 rupees, a fairy, like everything.
Somebody should create a plando where you have to bring that fish back for the magic drop. That would be fun.
Oh my god. That would be amazing. And yes, as someone in chat is pointing out, this is highly useful in Randomizer, because you often see fishes hanging around Kakariko Village. So you just take one, bring it to the other vendor, and get everything. Bombs.
Okay, so what we'll see now, that'll be a bit of an interesting decision, although I guess really the eastern area is really the only thing that these two runners will have left once they clear this out. With the exception of fake flippers, I guess.
Yes, and the Witch's Hut.
True.
Which is a bit out of the way, but they could fake flipper in the whirlpool that's south of Lane's house. That's a little bit faster than walking all the way to the Witch's Hut.
So I think if I was Mclagging, I think I probably would fake flipper. Take the time to fake flipper in the spot. You have the money for Zora, you have the Moon Pearl. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, especially if his hand is going to ask, okay, yeah, definitely do it. Because if you find an item that makes you skip killing Ganon, because it's very much a possibility now, then you're good to go.
Absolutely. Finding a bow as well would also be a boon, because you'd be able to just finish Eastern while you're there.
And it looks like Koi is going to Eastern Palace, or at least going to Sahasharas.
Koi, meanwhile, is...
the items, he might bail out right away. And Mclagging is doing the fake flipper like we predicted.
So we got the maximum lag shield and some junk. So probably pretty tough to bail on the eastern dip from here if you're Koi.
Yeah, I don't think you pretty much have a choice.
So pretty sure I saw regular crystals at EP and Desert and pendant at Tower of Hera there.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, especially with it being a crystal, potentially having to double dip into Eastern feels a little bit bad. But I mean, the alternative is doing Aghanim 1, right? So
Yeah, I think if I had the mirror, I would do other one just because I can mirror into both Pod and Eastern, but without it, there's not much of a point.
yep, no, I can agree with that for sure. Yeah.
And still, it would be a risky play. Anyway, so going Eastern is the safest. Is the safest play to do.
For sure. It's tough for me at least, to do, hey, there's a sequence broken glove in the fairy cave there for Mclagging.
That's already very interesting.
And sorry, what I was going to say before that popped up was it's hard for me to do Aghanim 1 unless I'm forced to, if I don't have any way to get to the Western Dark World logically. It's tougher, I think, which is where the spot the runners are in right now. You basically only have Pod and Pyramid Ledge if you do Aghanim 1 from here.
Yeah, they cannot even do Catfish yet. Unless you take Mclagging sequence broken glove, but
Right.
Catfish is not even in logic. And Koi has already opened a couple chests in Eastern. I didn't follow correctly if he got. Okay, that's the other glove.
Okay.
So yeah, at least Catfish is now in logic, which is a good or bad news.
Sure. And we can actually skip Aghanim at least with a sequence break.
See, Mclagging is doing the fake flipper to the Witch's Hut.
Yeah.
The setup with a bomb is just to make sure you are at the very edge of the screen, because you cannot be bombed further than the edge. So when you do that, the fake flipper is easy first try every time.
So I think he saved and quit right before this. So if this is nothing, could hard reset from here to try and... Actually, we have the powder already, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah.
It just appeared.
Yeah.
After giving the... Alright, so that was a useless mushroom, but Koi still has one item to open. One chest to open in Eastern Palace. This will be the big chest. I don't know if there's an item left on the boss. Probably. I think I saw the compass as well, so yeah, there's an item left on the boss. It's probably going to be a double dip of Eastern, logically.
So Mclagging is going to wind up coming in here. Well, I'm assuming when he finds nothing in the back of Sahasrahla, he will go into Eastern as well. He could decide to sequence break his way up Death Mountain.
No, but that's a sequence.
Well,
I speak again. That's not a sequence break.
right. We know it's not, but Mclagging doesn't know that yet.
Yeah, but if he goes in Eastern, then he will get his
Right.
logically first gloves, and he will be able to enter Dark World as well.
Right. Yeah, he probably doesn't even do it if he does wind up going into Eastern, which it looks like he does. Or will, sorry.
Yeah, I wonder, do you go in Death Mountain, like, because it's it's where the progression should be, or do you go stay in Dark World and go from there?
I would be going into the Dark World, I think. I probably put Death Mountain off later than I probably even should a lot of the time. I like to really try and leave it so I can completely clear it out in one shot if I really can. So I would definitely be going into the Dark World.
Yeah, it's true, they cannot do much at present. Koi has already done Old Man, didn't get anything of very good value, and he's going to check the Spectacle Rock Cave. And that will be it for now. Yep, so no progression on this mountain. Let's see if he decides to go Ganon 1, or maybe Fate Flipper to get his mids.
He's getting hearts.
That smells like a 1. Yeah, I completely understand doing a 1. The chances of skipping it by Fate Flipping is quite small, but it happens.
Yeah, for sure. Like here, yeah, exactly. It basically has to be one of 2 items, or with the caveat of that if there are a couple of fetch items left, but yeah, that's most of the time you're doing Aga 1 from here, so yeah, I understand it too.
And the flippers are probably in pod, and some shit legit like that. But,
Probably, yeah.
So this early, I say Mclagging is in the lead, just because Koi is stuck doing Aghanim's Tower for now. And Mclagging will be able to go right to the Dark World after finishing his Eastern Out. But that could change anytime. And maybe Koi will probably get his flippers sooner than Mclagging.
I mean, there is still outside possibilities, of course, that Aghanim 1 is actually required for other reasons, so not 100% set in stone that what Koi is doing is not going to wind up being important.
Well, I really hope that Mclagging knows at least the current jump that you can do to get from the west Dark World to the east. So that could nullify Aghanim 1 completely for him.
Yep.
There's still the possibility of like hammering Pyramid Fairy or stuff like that. I don't know if it will be possible given the head crystal layout.
So EP cleared out for Mclagging, and we would assume that we're going to Sanctuary from here and headed into the Dark World. Koi is having a very nice Aghanim's Tower execution-wise here. For being bootsless, he's gotten through it pretty quick, and we'll hope that we have a low blue ball count.
Yep, so if you want to guess how many blue balls there will be. The blue balls number is actually an interesting trivia about it. In Randomizer, the number of blue balls, well, not the number, but the RNG, which governs if you will get a blue ball or not, is seeded by the seed. So they all have the same thing. And we have head crystals at Pod and Turtle Rock, with the green pendant in Thieves Town and the blue pendant in Swamp Palace. So at least there will not be a hammer in Pyramid Fairy for this seed.
Yes. Swamp Palace is a crystal is
a pendant.
As a pendant is an interesting one, simply because it means we could potentially get into GT without finding the hookshot first. And Pendant Swamp is one of those dungeons that is a large time investment if you decide you want to go into it looking for progression. So it can easily be a big decider in a race.
Yeah, and this is quite interesting because Swamp is, I think, one of the fastest dungeon to go mode. But if you want all the items, then you have to go left side is one of the worst. Not
Right.
one of the worst dungeons because it has many items, but one of the longest to commit to.
That's right, especially if boots don't show up. Swamp is actually the dungeon that having boots for saves you the largest amount of time in. So that could be another thing as well, even just depending on when players decide they're going to do it.
And you see, this is fast Ganon because the hole is already opened. If Koi fell down the hole to meet Ganon, Dom would tell him he's a dingus, I think, and because he doesn't have all the 7 crystals, so good for him for not doing that.
I won't lie, I probably in a lot of seeds, if I was doing fast Ganon, would just be holding down coming out of that cutscene and would fall in there. I'm sure I would do that. Koi is heading up to check the catfish after coming out here, and this is something that we did notice in Koi's previous race as well, that he very much seems to like to make sure that he checks the corners of the map early, and so he seems to be continuing with that train of thought in the seat here as well.
That's interesting, and I think it's even more of a good play before doing pod, which is the only locations he has access to logically. Because what if you find the hammer here or the bow?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, the hammer is less interesting for pod, but it could make him access the other side of the Dark World. But like the bow could be very interesting for putting pod in logic. And besides, this is like a 1 in 6 chance of getting a progression item here. Since there's just 5 items in pod, just catfish.
That's right, yeah. Nothing there though, so saving and quitting and presumably just going to be on his way to pod from here.
So Mclagging did the front of Skull Woods, didn't get anything very interesting. And he's now going forward, finding the hammer in Sea House. So this is very much logically again in Hikoyatsi.
Absolutely. And so you have a green pendant thieves here. What do you think, Ninbin? Are you diving in there or are you leaving it?
Leaving it. First 4.
First 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like first 4 here too, I think.
Oh, and he got the mirror too, so that feels very good for Mclagging.
Yep. If I clear out the first 4 chests and only get 1 item or less, then I think I think about doing the back, but if I get at least 2 items in the front here, I think that's all I'm doing.
We already got 1.
Yeah, I already have 1, yeah.
So there will be some progression in pod, but it won't be the hammer, which I think is interesting. It's probably going to be flippers, or at least something leading very soon to flippers for Koi.
Hookshot would work as well, right? Logically?
Yeah, hookshot as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Hookshot would give him access to Village of Outcast and to his hammer.
And East Death Mountain as well. Hookshot up actually does open up quite a bit, actually. It would be funny if it was just right here at the front and pod was actually bow locked, but no such luck.
Yeah. But I think if he finds Hookshot and goes up DM, I think he's just going to waste more time because all the good progression is in Village of Outcast right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the sequence break really paying off.
You want the hammer and the mirror before going up DM, and the Titan Smiths.
Yes.
Yeah, you want all 3 of them to make DM the most efficient possible.
I think all of those basically opens up just about all of it. You'd be short the Hookshot for Hookshot Cave and the Book of Medora, but you'd basically be able to do everything else. Be very nice item density. Mclagging is continuing on through Thieves Town here. This could be one of those things where, since he knows he's sequence broken it and he felt like he's routed the light world really efficiently, that he might feel like he sort of has the time to invest here. And there's our Hookshot in pod.
Yep, that's really good. Well, that's good, but yeah, that gives him access to the hammer and the logical West Darkworld access, but still no logical access to his Titan Smiths, so those would be much later, I think, for Koi.
Yeah, if he's if he's semi stuck on keeping things logic here, there's no way of knowing how buried the flippers are just yet.
If he gets like Mit's go mode, that could be interesting because Mit's look a lot of locations that Mclagging might do, and Koi could save time by having just Mit's go mode.
That's true.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, actually, yes, you're right. That would actually be very interesting.
And Koi just got a sequence broken Ether medallion. We don't know if it will be useful or not.
Decent chance that it is. We have to do both the medallion required dungeons. Although if it's like the last one, it doesn't matter whether it's crystal or pendant, but
Mclagging doing the skip that blind fight. And good job.
Yep, pretty much perfect.
Yeah, just like it should, and the bow. Hey, this Village of Outcasts is really good.
Yeah, it's loaded. And
a very
Mclagging
good choice of
rewarded.
doing it first.
Yeah. So this is shaping up to be potentially very different routes for the two runners here.
Yes, it's going to be drastically different, and Mclagging will be able to complete pod on his first go, while Koi will have to hit on eventually. I'd say Mclagging is pretty much in a solid lead right now, but it could change, like we just talked 2 minutes ago.
Yep, absolutely. I would agree with that. Mclagging probably just does the complete round the world trip from here, you would think, right? After Hype Cave, just go right up and do pod?
Yeah, why not? He's probably going to...
Oh my
and
goodness.
The boots, obviously. Nice find there. So yeah, he's going to deliver the blacksmith, get the purple chest, he's going to get the magic bat, the bed cave, and bring the purple chest down to the hype cave, and all this stuff.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, so... Actually, no, he does have the mirror, so yeah, never mind. Yeah, so this is going to work out fantastically for him. It's really hard to draw it up any much better than this. I mean, if you wanted to be picky, you'd say you'd want the fire rod, so you could have just done Skull Woods while you were here too, but I mean, beyond that, it's hard to ask for much better than this.
Yeah, going back to Skull Woods isn't really a major issue most of the time. So yeah, let's see what that Mountain East has to offer. So that is much less available than Koi might think there is.
Not the cane we're looking for on the Smiths, but potentially useful with Spike Cave and Logic, I guess.
I think Spike Cave is may have been already in Logic with the two bottles they have.
True.
I think Koi gets the good game with the shovel. But getting the Cane of Samaria for Koi doesn't really do much, since it's useless without the mids. He doesn't have access to either Meyer or Totorock to use his cane in.
Right, and going through Spiral Cave, this is basically what Koi's gotten himself access to with this hook shot. If this doesn't have something very useful in it, this is a bit tough, because otherwise he's just going to the West Dark World stuff for the stuff Mclagging's already done. Well...
So we didn't get much items from this mountain. And Mclagging is leaving the purple chest here. This is not a mistake. He's doing it on purpose because there's an old glitch actually, but people didn't really think of putting it in action before a few months ago. But you can just leave the purple chest in the dark world, and when you mirror right next to the thief guy. And as like on the next frame after you mirror or something, the game thinks you still have the purple chest with you. So he opens it. Just like this.
Perfect. As long as the thief is on screen when you mirror, correct? That's just all that needs to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I believe that's it, because the game basically has two versions of the thief that they can load. One that doesn't open the chest and one that opens the chest. So he's got the one that opens the chest.
Koi's starting to work his way around to the village of outcasts. Hype Cave is... I mean...
I love reading, so the book is pretty hype for me.
Yeah, I mean, the book's pretty good. It's hard to ask for it to be in a better spot than here. Okay, in saying that, Mclagging is going to forgo Bombo's tablet for now.
I think it's okay. Maybe pair it with Swamp if he ever feels the need to go inside.
Yep.
And I think he's probably going to wonder, like, okay, I need to get my progression that is probably important. Because his myth is still a sequence broken, so all the things he got in Village of Outcasts he should not have right now,
Right.
according to logic. So he needs to know what's in.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Just wow. Bow and flute on the Green Pendant Thieves Town.
So, yeah, so Thieves Town, blind himself anyway, is very required.
Yeah.
We know the hookshot is in here, so I mean we're basically down to both rods, logically the flippers, but I mean that's not really a big burden. And maybe a medallion.
Yep, that's right. We don't need much else.
Koi also taking the early Skull Woods. We know from Mclagging there's not really much of interest at the front here.
That was a good Mimic's home. I like the way he did it.
Yeah, very nice.
Shot on the head Mimic to make him go forward and then finish off the two green ones. That's one that these homes, the Mimic rooms in these games are really nice to see good execution on.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fair to say, I mean, this is probably true of all games to a certain extent, but I think Link to the Past in particular, when rooms and strats are executed really well, it looks really, really nice. It's really eye-catching.
Yeah, this really, I don't know, professional these homes the optimal way.
All right. So from what we know, big decision coming up here from Koi on whether or not he decides to clear out Thieves Town or whether he decides to leave it or only check the front. And that hammer probably helps. You don't have to be worried about potentially leaving the big chest and thieves behind.
Yeah, hammer definitely helps. There have been seas where I didn't finish Crystal Thieves Town without hammer because I was too worried. But at least the choice is easier now.
Chest turn number 3 by my count for Koi. Very nice.
I did see more chest turns than 3.
Okay.
He did way more.
Nice.
It's always nice to see.
Alright, so here we go. He's going back up.
Well, at least for the first 4, because this is basically the same as an overworld check.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing to see here is if he will go to the back.
Right. We don't want to see him menuing to the mirror.
No.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
That's... Uh-oh. Don't do it, Koi. Don't do it. Don't do it.
But I understand why he's doing it.
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't know yet about the flippers liking the hits, but he just went to this mountain for basically nothing. So I understand wanting to recoup on his losses of time. It's a very logical play. Just too bad.
Yeah, it really is. I totally get it. We talked earlier, there were 2 items in the front. If it was me and I found 2 items in the front, I wouldn't be doing the back either, I don't think. So I totally get it. Alright, this feels like a good time with Mclagging open up the bottom of pod and Koi doing some checks that we've seen already to remind everybody to make sure you keep following and checking in on Speed Gaming's 1 through 6 and ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 5 for all your 2019 Fall Main Tournament action. And to make sure to follow these 2 runners here, Mclagging and Koi, who have put on at least 1 great race, and we'll be able to see if we'll be able to get a second one in here for you tonight.
Yep. I just want to correct myself from earlier because I'm seeing reactions from chat. I don't want to. I didn't want to say that Koi's play was bad. I don't think it's just too bad because he made the right decision in my mind. I think he still made the right decision. He just didn't do the. Made the right decision. He just didn't do the one that was right for this seed.
Yeah,
is what I meant. Yes, it's just luck. He's getting randomly by this, but no, it happens, and Mclagging did the hall that led him to doing the decisions he made, which were good for him as well. So I don't really have much to say in critique of their hearts.
Yeah, but yeah, this is against a lot of opponents in a lot of spots. What Koi is doing wouldn't even put him that far behind. It's just Mclagging has basically stumbled upon. You know, if you got the spoiler log before the race, you'd probably be doing pretty close to what Mclagging's done.
Yeah, maybe. Except maybe with less hearts, because in spoiler races you don't even finish with that many hearts.
That's true.
And actually, the flipper still being missing in action is also something that's held the key for Koi, because I don't think he will fade flipper for the mids anytime soon. He has much more money checks to make and flippers to find somewhere before he goes to Waterfall Ferry.
I mean, if he was going to do it, he'd be doing it right here, right? You would think.
Yeah, that could be an option. I think with his items, maybe he could do it. Like with the cane and bombs, he could just fake flipper anywhere. But that's not really something you tend to do. I think he's probably going to try Desert Palace.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, probably you just do Bombo's tablet from here and then hop down and do Desert. Yeah. That's exactly what he's doing, and again, it makes complete sense based on what he knows.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we haven't talked about Mclagging for a while, but he's just finishing up Eastern, and we'll get to see what item is on the boss this time. After he's already done with Pod. And that's a nice NMG Armos fight. Just missed the last row at the end. I spoke too fast.
Yeah.
Still good recovery on his part, and the last item was just
all right. So we've got a glimmer of hope here for Koi with Fire Rod on the Bombos tablets.
Oh, that's interesting. That's not something Mclagging will get for a while.
Absolutely. So now I don't know. At this point for Koi, it's kind of weird. You kind of want the flippers to be close so you can get your Titan mids, but you also kind of want them to be buried deep in the seed so that Mclagging's not going back to that area.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I just don't know what call to make it the most interesting. So we'll just see how it unfolds. And it is.
Well.
So for Mclagging, that just put his mids in logic. So he's probably glad to see it.
Here's the lumberjack check. Pretty sure that was a bottle.
Yeah, that was a bottle. So I get him still acquired logically, but not hard acquired by having like the ice rod there or something.
Right.
So Koi is doing progression at least. He's doing a crystal dungeon right now, so he's not losing much time. He just lost the opportunity to float and mirror into Desert Palace, but that doesn't change much. Didn't find hardly anything of value yet. Maybe something's on the boss. We'll get to see that.
Think Mclagging is going to the Mire area from here?
Possibly at least to see what medallion he needs for the Mire dungeon. I think here he will be doing the mirror checks in North Ohio.
It's hard to you tend to always feel behind when you're running randomizer, but in Mclagging's spot you have to feel like you're in a pretty good spot here. So trying to limit yourself from getting randoed by the more isolated locations definitely feels like the right play in his situation.
Yes, and he's right there. He just activated the flute, so yeah, good option to go there right now. But he isolated the fire rod too, so
yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I see Koi heading back in Desert Palace, so I guess there's still an item left in there. But I don't think he did the. No, he did the big chest. Okay, he's going right side. That's what he's missing.
Yeah, I can never get. If I do the right side before leaving, it's map compass. If I leave it, I have to go back. Just never get it right.
So yeah, it seems I'm seeing lots of people do this. I still haven't started doing it. Checking the ledge item and floating back to the same spot. It seems faster. But could have been a bit faster, I think, if he started floating before seeing the item.
Right.
And we saw Koi just get Quake in Desert Palace, so that's all 3 of our medallions. And I guess Mclagging is going to get it very soon as well, so we won't have to worry about the Turtle Rock medallion.
Yeah, so if Mclagging can, as long as he decides not to, do something like dive into Mire without the cane here, I mean, you would have to think with basically all of Death Mountain available to him now that once he does Desert, that's where he's going, and he's going to pick up his cane.
Yeah, that will put him on him missing the Fire Horde and Ice Horde pretty much.
Would you think about fake flippering into Ice Palace in this spot if you were Mclagging after you clear out Death Mountain?
Yes, definitely. Maybe I would even do it before going Death Mountain. That would be there's some risk associated to it, but hey, what if I find Ice Horde on Death Mountain?
Yeah, definitely. If I found one of the rods up there, that would definitely make it more appealing, I think.
But you know what? I just talked about it. It's fast Ganon, so you don't have any benefit of doing Turtle Rock last. Contrary to the cases where you want to go GT after that.
It's true.
Yeah, there's not a real point to doing that.
So Koi's finishing off Skull Woods with that fire rod that he found, so let's see if he can come up with the ice rod off of Mothula here. I would assume we'll also get a check of the pedestal after this.
I really hope so. That could put him on the way to Thiefstone if it's the Ice Horde, for example.
It's probably the one single event that could really help him out the most. So I think there was one junk item in the front of Skull Woods, I think. So that off
Yes.
Mothula should be the second, yeah.
Yes, I saw the head hoop in the big chest earlier.
Just couch cash.
So yeah, that's not encouraging him to go Thiefstone.
It's not very often you have to sword down Landmolas, but that's what Mclagging has to do here.
Yeah, true. He doesn't have fire or the ice sword, so tempered sword is the best option. I'm pretty sure it does more damage than the bow, I think, at this point.
The spins definitely would. I think the slashes are the same.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You could probably still start the fight with arrow shots, arrow home, but just 2 spins per double. really depends on your NMG version of the
Yeah.
execution.
All the NMG runners who spent countless hours practicing Landmolas just so that they can continue to 4 or 5 cycle it in actual runs, because that fight is a fight in NMG.
If you can like 4 or 5 cycle it with the bow, I'd say just start with the bow and finish it off with your tempered sword.
So basically, the only thing that is currently outstanding is the ice rod. Pretty decent chance that it's going to be up here on Death Mountain. Koi did do some of it, but there is a decent amount of it left up here still.
Yeah, this one I'd say it's a decent chance. And Koi just got his flippers, so let's hope that this will put him on the road to Night Azimuths. And I think it will. I think. No, he already did Catfish, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he could still go that way to go Waterfall Ferry and Zoro and all that.
He did also wind up turning in the mushroom at some point, correct?
No, he still has it in his inventory.
Okay. So then, yeah, it seems.
I just saw the little Y on the border.
So that seems pretty likely.
Going that way. Yeah.
So there's the cane for Mclagging.
And goodbye, Koi. So he's not going
to
Waterfall, at least not this way. And he's starting at house, so maybe he's going in. Let's see. That seems good. That sounds like someone who's going to Waterfall Ferry. Maybe he wants to go Hobo first.
Yep. Clearing out his overworld flipper locations here. You're harassed a little bit by that Usain Bolt guard there first.
Yeah, the post area overworld is a dangerous place. Like the light world just gets so much more dangerous with all the red guards and everything.
Right.
And in the inverted mode, it's worse because you're often the bunny.
And anyone who's ever run a lot of NMG has almost assuredly had the red guard who spawns near the library cost you a whole bunch of life heading into Thieves Town.
Oh yeah, Usain Bolt himself in the flesh. Still no ice hard in Death Mountain for now.
Alright. So Koi is going to get his Titan's mitts here and is going to realize that Aga was capable of being sequence broken. So I don't know. How do you feel here if you're Koi? You find that?
I think I'd feel bad because I don't really know what is Mclagging's style. It's maybe the first time I see him play, but I think at least half the runners pretty much always do Fake Flipper, especially with Moonpearl and Kakariko. So I would feel behind.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you can, like, it may not occur to you while you're actually in the heat of a moment of a race, but if you can put the pieces together, like, if you had that mitt, you're basically going into Village of Outcasts already, which was loaded, and he doesn't even know how loaded it really is.
Yeah, he still has to get the best parts of the Thieves Town.
So Mclagging coming up here, Ether, Tablet, check, and heading into Tower of Hera, one would assume.
Hey, it's a abandoned dungeon, so he could always surprise us.
It's true.
I think he's doing Ice Palace now. which I think it's the right choice.
Oh!
Especially if it's behind.
There's the ice rod.
Wow, so Mclagging just needs the fire rod now, which is on Bombo's tablet, which can take a while before it gets back there. So yeah, how do you like that? Fire rod on Bombo's tablet and ice rod on the Ether tablet.
That's true. That's true.
The ice medallion.
Wow. That is great. That's fantastic, actually. Mclagging setting up Parapot here. He's got it.
Yep, I like this setup. I use the same one. When I don't have boots. When I have boots, I'd rather use the spin speed. But just personal choice. And he got it very well, so no issue here. So Koi is in Ice Palace right now. I think he chose to do it immediately because more because he feels behind. I would guess. I would not say for sure, but probably hoping for some kind of cohesion inside that he won't get, unfortunately.
Probably figuring that if you fake flipper and grab that Titan's mid out of that spot, you're probably going to try and not do the required water dungeon, unless you absolutely, just on the off chance that flippers are the last link in the chain, you don't have to go looking for them at all. So
Okay,
hoping that there is progression in here.
Especially the flippers being at the bonk rocks, which isn't a bad location, but with the boots as late as the in-game, and it could take a while before you go back to bonk rocks. It could take a little while.
Yeah. We're talking about fake flippering because Mclagging used fake flippering to sequence break the Titan's mitts earlier. So now that Koi knows that was potentially doable, it is some information as a player that he can try and use.
And just to correct some information, Koi did go to Deepstone, he did the first 4 chests, and then he bailed out. So that leaves the bow on Blind himself, plus the flute on Sahashala, on Sahashala's Green Pendant to get for him. So he will need to eventually get back there.
And yeah, as was mentioned in the chat as well, Mclagging just deciding to get into Ice Palace at this point, just thinking, almost certainly thinking that he's had a very nice push through this seed. He's only missing the Fire Rod, and he's just going to clear out crystal dungeons that he's capable of completely finishing.
Yep, and that's the right choice for right now. After that, he will just have Mario left, and then it will be the hunt for Fire Rod.
And I would have to think, is Mclagging, you're just going to check Bombos before you go into Swamp Palace. Going into Swamp is basically the only real time sink that's left, unless you do something crazy like Fire Rodless TR or something. But
yes, I think Bombos before Swamp is definitely the right choice. Especially if you only have 1 item from Bombo. If you have 2, I may understand doing Swamp first because the chances are high that you're going to do it anyway.
right.
But just 1 item? No, just do Bombos because you don't want to commit to Swamp Palace.
So the one good piece of news for Koi potentially out of all of this is that there's a very good chance that he's going to get to go mode Meyer, whereas Mclagging, you would have to think, is probably going there after this and probably won't get to do that. That is some time that he could potentially pick up on Mclagging here.
Yeah, it all depends on where the big key is. Because if the big key is like in cutscene chests, then there's no God Meyer. There's just full clear Meyer all the way. But that would be interesting to see. It's one of those informations we'll get as far as time wasted is concerned.
Seed continuing to be nice with equipment, with Half Magic and the Final Sword upgrade, both in Ice Palace's trio of items.
It's funny because these are both items that would only make the boss, the coaster boss, faster. At least the gold sword can make the coaster boss really fast. You just need 3 hits to kill him. And the Half Magic is just nice.
Icing on the cake, yeah, exactly. Flagging on his way down to Cold Stare from here. Koi going to be clearing out the parts of Death Mountain, which he did not complete before, which should get him his Ice Rod, which is probably going to put him into Turtle Rock, I would think.
Yeah, at this point, why not? There are high chances that he gets the bow in Turtle Rock, actually, I think. Because there are 2 bows in the game, the Randomizer. This is a change from the last version. Basically, the bows are progressive now. So the first bow gives you the bow, and the second bow gives you the silver rose. So he might find maybe even not even logically, he just might find another bow, and that will give him his bow. While if Mclagging goes there and finds the bow, it will be the silver rose for him.
And yeah, Koi will probably wind up doing Tower of Hera as well, unfortunately. One would think even if he decided to pass on it after picking up the Ice Rod, that he's probably going to go back and do it once Turtle Rock is finished. But getting through Turtle Rock Turtle Rock's a fairly linear dungeon. Even with the optimal key setup, it's not a humongous difference between having to full clear it and not. Biggest difference is usually just whether or not you get to skip the big chest or maybe parts of Laser Bridge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you get to full clear Turtle Rock, just do it anytime. I just hope he doesn't try to enter it before getting the Ice Rod.
Yeah, that would be awful. Yeah.
But I would understand the play, because maybe you feel behind, you don't want to do Pendant or O'Hara. But still, again, the Ice Rod is just outside the Tower of Hera. Well, there's still one saving grace for that. If he leaves a portal at the end of Laser Bridge and gets back up the mountain to do the Ether Tablet, he can take the Ice Rod right back to Turtle Rock and finish it.
Yep. There is an argument to be made too, is if you just dip your head in here and check this chest on the 2 on the right and then mirror out, that basically costs you 0 time because you have to do this in every Turtle Rock clear anyway. So he could just do that.
Yeah, that's also very interesting. That's a good option.
Alright, so Mclagging heading into Meyer, as we surmised he probably would, just following up on that logic of just finishing what he's capable of finishing here.
And Koi looks like he wants to go all over. Or maybe he will just mirror after chain jumps. I think I saw some people do that.
Yep, definitely could. I mean, once you go down to lava chest, I think you're basically committed to going all the way, but you could still back out from here.
Yeah. I mean, so the chain jumps here is a guaranteed key anyway.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Koi is continuing down, but as you pointed out, Ninbin, if he leaves the portal, he could very easily get back in there without losing too much time. Just the one extra climb up Death Mountain, pretty much.
Yeah, and he already starts on the left side, so we just have to go in Bahados Cave again, and then go right to Hera.
That is, that is an amazing Super Bunny sprite.
That is a very adequate reminder for him to go and kill.
Yeah. Mclagging has not been to the pedestal. Koi has, but Mclagging has not.
Can I just point out the very cute emotes from Koi that I see in chat from some of his subscribers with the maiden and blind. I think they're just very cute. So.
Yeah, they're great.
Hope some that, man. Well, so far we got one bottle from Meyer, and Koi just got the cape from Mimic Cave, which may put Spy Cave in mind for him. Well, we know there's standing in Spy Cave.
Right, yeah.
So just to get newcomers in the chat up to what's happening now. Mclagging is searching for Fire Rod, which is on the Bombos tablet. And Koi is searching for Bow and Flute and Ice Rod. Bow is on Blind, Flute is on Sahashala Spring Pendant, which is on Blind, and the Ice Rod is on Ether tablet.
Mclagging, just looking for the Fire Rod, which is on Bombos tablet, which is very nice, very cute. The Fire Rod on the Fire tablet, as you mentioned earlier, and the Ice Rod on the Ice tablet. And yeah, that's true. I think we have to upgrade our Hype Cave score, considering that book has directly led to both rods.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a 10 on 10 for me.
Yeah.
Especially with the thematic of the rods and the tablets. That's excellent.
Lagging using the most common NMG strat here for taking out Vitreous.
Not exactly NMG. He didn't spin because there's not really a point in spinning with Bulbasaur, but he just basically did go all in and take them out. Kind of the Rambo way, I'd say. And Koi is doing just as we predicted with the portal on the end of Laser Bridge. And he's climbing back up the mountain, which means he will get the Ice Rod on Ether Tablet. So not too much of a time loss for him there.
Right. It'll be a very weird combination of "aw man" and also "phew" that you left the portal there.
Yeah. Well, he left the portal there in hopes of just this happening.
Right. So this looks like a pedestal check for Mclagging.
Yeah, that's a good choice to do it now, right before heading to Swamp Palace. And he already has 2 pendants in his inventory, so...
Right. Because if you know the Fire Rod is here, you know you can just blitz straight to Argus at the back, and likewise, if you know Argus doesn't have an item, then you know you can dip out of it.
Yep. So now at least he gets less incentives to kill Argus.
So there's the play to the south shore. You'd have to think Mclagging is going west to Bombo's tablet from here. And we'll enter go mode at about an hour 16. Oh. Oh.
That looks like Swamp.
Oh my goodness. So pretty much best case scenario for Koi here.
And Koi just did a good job of trying ace. He could not avoid the first cycle, which is avoidable if you go to the back. But the second phase was just perfect. So, good fight there.
Alright, so yeah, we do know that Mclagging is not going to come across anything in here, so this is going to be potentially a long clear, especially if there winds up being items on the left side. He decides to go and completely clear this dungeon out, which I would think if you're coming in here before checking the tablet, that's what you're going to wind up doing. You're pretty much committed to the full swamp play at this point.
Yeah, you're committed to it. You have no choice. Koi is doing the hero put. It's another setup than the one Mclagging did, and he got it first try too. So going for him there, and he's going to get 2 items out of hero, just like Mclagging, because I think it was this chest and Mordor.
Okay, 2 items out of 2 chests so far for Mclagging, so probably going to go ahead straight to the back here.
Well, yeah, there's just more density in the back, so if you're looking for 1 item, just do most chests as you can.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's 3 items. 2.
And yeah, Mclagging does have a pretty hefty lead here. The big play of the race really was Mclagging, sequence-breaking Titan Smiths that allowed him to skip the logically required Aghanim 1. And not only did that allow him to skip doing Aghanim 1, but the routing of going through Village of Outcasts that he got to do from there was pretty superb for where everything was, including his other big decision, which was to completely clear out Green Pendant Thieves, which led to both the bow and the flute. Mclagging going for the Zero Cycle Argus, unfortunately not quite able to pull it off, but still should make pretty quick work of him.
Just look at how fast these little buffs die. Yeah, now that he's beat an Argus, I think it's like map and compass on the left side. Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, I'm not sure either, to be honest.
But he will probably go back in.
Yeah.
To get left side, and after that it will be Bombo's tablet. I don't have any doubt about that.
Koi is going to check out the Smith sequence. And I don't know how much he has left available to him outside of Swamp after this, other than where he needs to go, which is Thieves Town.
I think it's pretty much Swamp.
Yeah.
So he would need to go back in Thieves Town pretty soon, I guess.
It's just unfortunate that the way the routing is going to work out naturally here is you're going to have the purple chest right by Swamp Palace anyway. Pretty good chance you just go in there.
Yeah, especially when you're missing like 2 items like this. You go Swamp before the back of Pendant Thieves Town.
Yeah.
Especially if you, if you skip going to the back of Pendant Thieves Town for that long, you can guess that if progression is there and your opponent got in early, just like in the case of this scene, then you're in a pretty bad spot. Meanwhile, if he does Swamp Palace now, it's basically just a few minutes after Mclagging is doing Swamp Palace now.
Alright, so almost through left side here for Mclagging. You can see just how long the left side of Swamp really is, and why there's a pretty large amount of runners who just almost never go here. It really is a long time investment, and the water also slows you down quite a bit, especially if you don't have boots. So it feels even like it's even slower than it looks in a lot of ways too.
And just high five between the two of them.
Yep.
Koi going to Swamp Palace and Mclagging going to get his Go Mode Fire Rod on Bombo's tablet. So we're looking at 1.3 Fire Rod Go Mode, which is almost exactly the world record for the energy category of this game. Just nice trivia there.
Yeah, there's the yeah. So just a quick sprint to the back of Skull Woods here, and trip up Death Mountain to Turtle Rock. There will be no GT. This Koi did select Fast Ganon as his variation adjustment for this race. So once Turtle Rock is done, Mclagging will be straight to Ganon.
That was still made for a long scene, because GT is at least, I think, between 7 and 9 minutes, maybe even more in some occasions. But this will not be sub 130. So, and there are seeds with GT that can easily be sub 130, but this one won't. So,
Right.
it's still pretty long seed.
It could have been had Mclagging gone and done Bombos tablet immediately after getting the book in Hype Cave. This could have been insanely fast.
Yeah.
But was not meant to be.
Maybe the oops all dungeons from his finding and what happened in the last season.
Yeah.
Maybe it helped him complete Thieves Town and then hindered him a bit in completing Swamp before Bombos. But it's still basically another oops all dungeon seed for him again.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And for Koi that would be the same because still needs to complete Thieves and he's doing Swamp right now. So oops all dungeons again.
Yeah, giving us round 2. This one not quite as hard required as the previous one was, but it's playing out that way for both runners.
Yeah, and it's hard to turn down on the Pendant Hera because it's so fast a dungeon, especially with the new take of Hera potting.
And yeah, like we were mentioning, Koi is actually going to do the left side first. Because he's actually 2 items from Go mode. He's still looking for a bow and a flute, so...
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially when you already got the big key from the Founder Swamp. Actually doing it this way is a bit faster overall. If you're going to do it anyway. So, totally the good out there.
Mclagging avoids the dead rocks and is going to head into GT.
Not GT.
TR. Why did I say GT? We're not even going into GT at all.
It's only the TR crystal.
Yeah. Ganon's turtle. Yeah, that's what I meant. You got it. Thank you, Glower Power. Thank you. Got my back. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, it's very much Ganon's turtle. Like, what is it doing on that mountain?
Right. We're not even getting into the thing that there aren't even any turtles in here. They're in pod.
But they're also called terrapins. So
yes. Okay. True.
And Turtle Rock is just the Mario dungeon anyway. With all the Pookies and the Chain Chomps and...
That's true.
Like, yeah, let's make a dungeon. Let's make it Mario themed for no reason.
At least in the Link Between Worlds, they actually put Turtle Rock in the lake. Or in the lake area, anyway.
Good. Oh, so that's where the map was. So, oh yes, still fulfilling Swambalas. He will beat the boss as well. And for that, I don't think he has much to do except finish Thieves Town.
No, I don't think so either. I believe he did. I believe he cleared Spike Cave out after he finished Hera.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Pretty sure he's checked all the overworld mirror locations. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's basically just down to finishing Thieves. So Mclagging should be able to steal this pokey key here coming up, which will allow him to just head straight towards the back of Turtle Rock here.
Yeah, that's pretty much the maybe the only big time save you can do with Turtle Rock. You can do other time saves, but they're not always guaranteed to work.
Yeah, for sure.
And even this one, you might not be able to do it because the big key is in our chest, but it's one of the possible time saves that you do when you can.
And yeah, it looks like Koi is headed back up here.
Yeah, it's the only choice left.
So he'll probably have enough time to get the... Well, he probably doesn't. He probably knows once he gets through blind.
Well, at this point, I'd be thinking that the only way I can win is if my opponent put it out for as long as I did.
Right.
But since it was not the case, I don't know. I'd feel really bad about what he's gonna find in there. But at least he won't get like diverted from bringing in the green pendant, because the bow will lead him straight to pod and eastern. He will mirror and give the green pendant right away.
Yep.
And that will actually be go mode, so he will get to go mode Meyer, but that's all.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because he already full cleared both pod and eastern.
Pod can be a big time savings in go mode depending on where the big key shows up. But as you mentioned, he's already full cleared it. Mclagging did go for the zero cycle backdoor in the last seed here. Didn't go for it here probably because of where his health is. Just wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to get banged around against the spikes back there.
Yep, and the fight pretty dance called cross fight, so good for both of them. And now Mclagging just has to go right to Ganon. We're already on the last minutes of this race, at least before declaring a winner.
Yeah. In Koi's, it's unfortunate, but in Koi's position, you mentioned it earlier, Dinbin, that you basically know you're racing against your opponent doing either the exact same thing you did or something even worse, like missing a location or something like that. Otherwise, you're in quite a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and getting the bow here is okay, I guess, because it really only unlocks 2 locations, the eastern boss and the pod boss. But once he gets the flute, which is almost blocked by the bow, not quite exactly, but blocked by a blind. So I'm going, oh, okay, now that's Mario.
All right, so six hits for the first 2 phases here for Mclagging with the good old butter sword.
Yeah, it's a very easy fight with the butter sword, and I don't think he's even counting his hits.
No. Four hits here for the warp phase, and then 12 more than likely sword spins just because of the expanded hitbox. be through our pig.
And the arrows were in GT, so there was absolutely no chance either of them finding the combo.
Mclagging even a little bit dangerously there for that to go for that hit here, but he's got the 3 hits per cycle set up here.
Yep, those are nice game spins. And just missed one. But he's doing well. And he only needs 12 hits on Ganon with the tempered or butter spins. So he is close to done now. That's it.
GG to Mclagging.
So what was his SRL time?
Official SRL time of 1:35:31.
Nice. And I think Koi just forfeited, and he's already here with us to chat. So
Oh, hi.
welcome, Koi.
Yeah, what's up? How are you doing, guys?
We're doing fine. What about you?
Honestly,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
completely honest, like with no lies whatsoever, I'm seriously considering just forfeiting from the whole tournament because
No, don't do that.
I mean, like Mclagging's better than me. I don't know what else to say. Like that, and if Mclagging's better than me, then like there's no point in continuing, right? Because
I mean,
like even if Mclagging is like the best person in the entire tournament and no one's better than him, then that means I can't win the whole tournament. So why continue? That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, Rando is Rando. You got Randoed pretty hard here in this
On the first
early
seed.
on in the seed. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe not. That was a pretty tough all dungeons one here too. But you definitely did get Randoed pretty hard here. And Mclagging is joining us here. GG's Mclagging.
Hey, GG.
So the two big decisions that sort of decided this race were the sequence break to avoid Aga 1 and then going into the back of Thieves Town early. So you want to speak to those decisions and why you made them?
For the Thieves Town, with how the last race went, I just wasn't going to half dip a pendant dungeon at that point, just because everything was required the last seed, so maybe it was going to be again, which it was almost close to being again on this one too. And then the fake flippers to sequence break Aga. I didn't have pretty much anything at that time, so I figured maybe we could get a better weapon or something to climb the tower with. And we found that glove and the one in Eastern. So then I was wondering what the logic was from there until I finally found flute and lamp.
You did fake flipper before Eastern?
That was required. I did the fake flipper before Eastern, yeah.
Yeah. I did Eastern first, so it's like, oh, I can go to Catfish. Let's go do Aga, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so stupid because it was actually just straight up freaking required too, but you can sequence break it. And then skipping, not sequence breaking Aga, it's not just the 5 minutes at the tower. Now I'm double dipping pod too.
Yeah, the route really opened up for Mclagging after you got over to Village of Outcasts. Yeah, did the thought of doing Bombos Tablet after Hype Cave occur to you, Mclagging?
It did. I thought, oh, I could do Bombos in the Desert Palace right now. But then I also thought, oh, well, I can clear Eastern and Pog, because I just got the bow. So let's go to Eastern and Pog.
Yeah, which makes total sense. Yeah.
Then I completely forgot about Bombos Tablet till I was re-entering Swamps. Like, oh yeah, I didn't check that when I was going to after hiking.
Seed, seed was a little bit cute with putting the fire rod on the Bombos tablet or the ice rod on the ether tablet with the
I thought that
elements
was pretty
lining up. Yeah.
Then back-to-back seeds with green pendant being required. I don't know if I've ever ran into that before till tonight.
Yeah, the first seed for the both of you guys was a real doozy with all the pendant bosses being strictly required. This one turned into an Oops All Dungeons, but that previous seed was a killer. And you guys both finished that one in the 130s or so, which for an all dungeon seed, including Ganon's Tower, is pretty fast. So I don't think either of you have anything to have to hang your heads about anything here. I think you both put on a great show in both races, and I don't think anybody should want any piece of either of you going forward from here.
I mean, the first seed, like, it had to be execution from what I understand of the route that Mclagging took. Like, yeah, I doubled it pod, but that's like what, a minute at most covering the overworld screen to get back there. But I lost by 7 minutes. So like, how was I ever gonna win, right? I only win if Mclagging's the one that gets randoed. And that doesn't feel good. I wouldn't want to win just because my opponent got randoed.
I think there was in that seed I didn't unfortunately get to catch all of it, but I think Mclagging's routing wound up being a little bit cleaner. I think in terms of the way the overworld panned out. Like, obviously, like you mentioned, execution definitely matters. It definitely makes up time, but I don't know. I think you're being a little tough on yourself, Koi. I think there's a lot of people who I don't think who are not going to want any part of you going. Like I said, going forward. And I think you could definitely still make waves. So
no, I think this justifies my belief that my being the top seed of my group was a complete fluke. I don't belong in the top 32. I shouldn't have been there.
Maybe you can just continue to do the things you did in qualifiers. I don't know, like what made you go in top 32. So, I mean, the handle is just straights after straights. You get ghost haze, you get bad straights. I've certainly been in your situation, and after hazes like this, and I know what you're feeling, but it just, I know you just like come right back in a handle and have some better straights than this. So anyway.
GG's Mclagging, and I certainly don't mean to take anything away from you. You won fair and square, dude, and I think you're a better runner than me, and that's why you won here today.
Well, I don't know about that, but GG. Tonight I was fully expecting to go 0-2 and race again against Ace or Hitaka. I was not expecting to win both of these matches at all. You're very good at this game.
I looked through your SRL history for playing Rando, like in the last few months or whatever. We played one daily at the same time, and you won that. Like, if it was a 1v1, I would have lost. And we were in 2 qualifiers, I think, at the same time, and you beat me in both of those as well. So you have a perfect record against me.
That's interesting. I think they've all been pretty close too, though, haven't they?
Not that close.
It's not a perfect comparison either. I mean, because generally speaking, in larger races, people tend to play a little bit differently than when they do in 1v1s. At least I know, maybe you guys don't. I don't want to speak for you, but I know at least for me, if I'm playing in a larger race, I'm much more likely to be full clearing things and not skipping stuff and, taking like the 30 seconds to go back and do something kind of thing. I'm much more likely to do that in a bigger race than in a one-on-one situation.
Like, the majority of the seeds that I play are just by myself. I play viewer seeds, right? People submit me like what they think are fun or terrible seeds, and I just play through those for fun. And usually I play like super duper safe because it doesn't really matter, Like, if you play super duper safely, you're pretty much guaranteed to get sub 2 anyway. My stream always ends at the same time. So, like, if this was a viewer seed and I wasn't racing, I probably would have full cleared Thieves. But in this situation, it was like, 2 items in the front, it's just green pendant, I can always come back. If there's anything good back there, it probably locks a good chunk of the game, and this ends up looking like a good location. There was something good back there, it didn't lock that much, and I got screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's just unfortunate, but sometimes it just happens.
And the freaking TR play, man. Oh my god.
Actually, yeah, we were thinking it's probably going to wind up being like a really weird combination of thank God I left. I thought to leave the portal, and oh man, why didn't I just go there first?
I did TR without the ice rod because I did do the play you were talking about where you grab bombos into desert.
Mhm.
So I did it a TR before going over to Hera, and obviously TR was empty, nothing, and I killed Aga. You can't save the portal when you kill Aga unless the ice rod's just in Light World Death Mountain, which it happened to be.
That's not too bad for not getting it, but then finding it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so frustrating that and then you get randoed in this seed too, right, by skipping Bombo's tablet. But just like for me, your progression item didn't unlock very much, so it took you forever to get back there. So I wasn't really rewarded for grabbing it early.
All right. Well, GG's to both of you. They were very, very entertaining races to watch, and good luck for both of you going forward.
Right, so I think that's it. So good luck to both of you, just like Sarai said. And thank you both for doing these two great races tonight. And we're going to wrap it up. And so thanks everyone. Thanks Spam Musubi who did the tracking tonight. Thanks everyone, the Speed Gaming staff, helpers, everyone. And of course the viewers for being here and watching this and giving us a reason to speak over two people playing Randomizer. How weird is that? Thanks to my co-commentators, Iraq, for being with me. And see y'all another day.
Have a good night, everybody.